Right, I'm going to narrate this video. This is the student in the video. That's the plane coming in. And we're sitting at Rockcliffe, so this is takeoff. We're going to go to Ottawa Airport for Touch and Gos. So we're taking off at Rockcliffe, CYRO. And there's the Aviation Museum. It's not a full video. The memory card stopped working after a couple of runs, so it's just going to be a quick little sort of, there's two touch and goes and then it just sort of stops, so I'm going to just narrate what's going on here. We're taking off, trimmed for about 73 knots, which is why the plane is pitched at that degree, and we're turning about 20 degrees to the north into the river, partly to avoid the Prime Minister's house, as that's further down, directly west. That's the aviation, not the aviation parkway, the St. George's Etienne Parkway, whatever it's called. Rideau Hall's also in that direction. So we're going to be flying over towards Gatineau. This is February 18th, by the way. And yeah, the Ottawa River. It's going to cut in a second. I jump cut it a lot to keep it under 10 minutes. This is sort of going over the park and Gatineau there. That's the Gatineau River. We're about 2,000 feet is the height at which we fly in this video. Of course, this decreases when we do the touch and goes. So that's the Gatineau River. There was a recent snowstorm the week that we flew this, so everything is pretty covered in snow. This is Thursday, and the storm was on Tuesday. Black Limy is sort of at the lower left-hand corner near there with the casino. And I think that's Auto Route 8 or 5, probably 5. I forget the number. It's highway and stuff. We're going to be flying sort of west over Gatineau, and then we're going to change direction and go south once we pass over the dense area just below there and head to a checkpoint. Now you'll hear my instructor Lewis giving me instructions on radio calls as we talk to Ottawa Tower. I forget the name of that highway. Now we're starting to turn. We'll jump and cut in a second. Here we go. This is heading south towards the Ottawa River and the Champlain Bridge. This is a VFR checkpoint. A radio call has to be made over this bridge for any traffic. And this is the VFR route to Ottawa Airport. Any VFR flight wishing to obtain a clearance to land at the Ottawa International Airport needs to fly over this bridge and come in sort of from the northwest. So we fly over the bridge. This is sort of coming over Ottawa Tunney's pasture at the bottom left corner there, flying over near Holland and Westboro, Queensway, heading towards the Central Experimental Farm. You can see lots of traffic on the Queensway there. Island Park is right next to the cowl of the plane. Civic Hospital. We're actually flying directly over the Royal Ottawa Hospital. We're about to cross over Fisher and the scenic driveway for the farm. It's going to jump cut in a second. We're going to start decreasing altitude once we head over Carleton University, which is right in the middle of the picture. It's going to jump cut over it, yeah. So we're just past the university. That's Riverside Drive. You can tell the rolling shutter of the propellers. That's what it's called, rolling shutter. The propellers are slower as there's less power as we start to decrease altitude. As we're entering the base leg of the circuit. So we're entering on base, and this is entering on runway 22, which is the small the small northern runway. Oh, here's another cut. So now we're much closer to the ground, heading towards the runway. That's runway 22. Heading sort of over uplands and the Ottawa Hunt and Golf Club. The runway straight ahead, runway 0422. We're at the 22 end of it. This is the runway largely used by the Ottawa Flying Club, which is located at the airport there. So we're heading over the golf course, and we'll be flying over those buildings, all of which have aircraft warning lights on them at night. Not that it's relevant now, but regardless. So yeah, this is a touch and go at runway 22, and the rest of the video will basically just be this landing, just a description of the circuit, and then a sort of sped up second time as the card filled up by the end of the second landing. So we'll be coming for landing. You'll hear a horn. It's the stall horn because the angle of attack on the wings is such that it activates the horn. But of course, we're only, a foot or so off the ground. There's a bit of a balloon there as I ballooned a little bit, and then you settle in. It's called a flare-out. So I've basically put carb heat cold, flaps up, full power. We're taking off again. And what will follow is a sort of a description of how the circuit works for this runway. It's a right-hand circuit. It's a jump cut in a second. So this is now over the river. We've just crossed over the Redo River. That's Maribel Road, the green belt down there on the bottom. This is the crosswind leg, I believe. So we've turned into a sort of a northwestern direction. Sorry if I keep using the word sort of. It's just me. And we're flying over Pine Glen and Grenfell Glen, with the rail tracks dividing the two neighborhoods. In a second, we'll be making a right turn. This is all right turns. It's a right-hand circuit to do the downwind. So here we go. We're going to cut over Maribel Road here. That's Maribel Industrial Colonnade, West Ton Club Road, Colonnade Road, OC Transpo Garage. So this is downwind of runway 22. We're basically flying in the opposite direction of the runway, parallel with the runway. So we're downwind, approximately downwind from runway 22, heading in a northeast direction towards the Redo River and Mooney's Bay. Flying over Prince of Wales, or Highway 16, where it meets Fisher Avenue. And basically what will happen is we'll enter back onto the base leg once we get over Riverside Drive up ahead. There should be another cut. I don't want to make these videos too long, so I'm going to cut them down as much as I can so they don't get boring. Mooney's Bay Beach, Riverside Drive. We're going to turn again in a second. It'll cut. So now we're back on the base leg. This is Sawmill Creek and Lake, train yards, Bank Street, and it'll cut again at South Keys up ahead. And we're going to turn, cut to the base leg, and here we are landing again. Sorry, final leg. This is final. Excuse me. Hunt Club Road. And once I've landed again, it'll speed up, just to sort of, without any cuts, show you the entirety of the circuit in its entirety. See if I can explain this really quickly. When I'm landing, that's power idle, and what will happen is as I settle towards the runway, the nose will pitch up, and once it goes at a certain pitch, the stall horn will be activated. The idea is that I flare. I'm basically level with the runway, then I pitch up. And this is to flare out, causing, now it's sped up. So it's sped up. I've taken off, crosswind leg, about 1,500 feet altitude. Downwind leg, I'm a little off there. Base leg. Not everything is perfect. And then final. It's a sort of an ovally thing. So that's it basically. My memory card went off here, so that's it.